This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. What do you think is the densest country in Europe? Ignoring microstates like the Vatican and, let's say, anything under 1 million people, you're probably thinking of the Netherlands or maybe Belgium, geographically small countries with a decent population, over 10 million each. Under the normal way of calculating density, you're right. Well, almost. The European part of Turkey is higher if you're okay splitting countries, but let's not add that complication. But the normal way of calculating density is actually kind of bad for a lot of things. The normal density figures you see out there are really simple. You take the whole population of a country, and you divide it by the whole land area of the country. Sweden has about 10 million people and 400,000 square kilometers. That comes out to 24 people per square kilometer. Or in traditional Swedish units, that's about 100 people per lake. The problem is that people are not spread out across the country at 24 per square kilometer. Most people live in towns and cities at higher densities, and then there's a bunch of rural area between them that brings down the average density. Towns and cities in Denmark are not that different from towns and cities in Sweden, but Denmark's population density is massively higher, because Sweden has more distance between its towns and cities in the south, and then a very large and sparsely populated north. Another way to look at density is population-weighted density, which is basically the density that the average person experiences. The way it's calculated, it looks at all the rural areas, the towns, the cities, and the suburbs in a country, according to how many people live there. And then in the case of Sweden, it says that the average person lives at a density of 2,800 people per square kilometer, which might correspond to the inner suburbs of a smaller city like Uppsala. The population-weighted density of Denmark is 3,000 people per square kilometer. A little higher, but not that different. Because, like I said, the biggest difference between Sweden and Denmark is not the towns and cities. It's the space between them, also Sweden's vast north. So what's the real densest country in Europe based on population-weighted density? It is Spain, with a population-weighted density of 8,100 people per square kilometer. Spain's not a small country geographically, one of the largest in Europe actually. There's plenty of rural area, farmland, mountains, distance between cities. But when it comes to towns and cities, Spain has the densest and most compact in Europe. Spain has the highest rate of apartment living on the continent. 2/3 of Spanish households live in apartments or flats. For example, in Madrid, you can go from the tightly packed and narrow streets of the medieval core, Centro, which used to be within city walls, to a newer suburb like La Ronca, which is still mostly apartments, with some townhouses sprinkled in. It was built in the 1990s and is connected to the southwestern edge of the Madrid metro. Spanish cities often have a very sharp boundary between the city and the countryside, like this town near Valencia, where densely built mid-rises abruptly turn into farmland. Obviously, like in most countries, you can find the whole range of density and housing types here. This suburban neighborhood near Seville looks almost like California. The seaside resort town of Benidorm has particularly tall apartment towers and hotels by Spanish standards. But when we look at averages, the average density experienced by a person in Spain is twice as high as in the UK or France, 3 times as high as in Sweden or Germany, 3.5 times as high as in the US or Australia. Why is Spain like this? Well, first, Spanish towns and cities aren't denser in a vacuum. Spain also has less of its total territory inhabited. There's more empty space, fewer towns and cities for the land area than other European countries, even nearby ones like France. Geography and climate are part of this. Many parts of Spain are mountainous, or they're hot and dry, or the soil quality isn't great. That makes it kinda work like a smaller, more land-constrained country. The land still exists, but it's not as easy or as desirable to settle. But that's only part of the Spanish anomaly, as one study calls it. Another part is history. Some recent studies have argued that the Reconquista in the Middle Ages, where Christian northern kingdoms conquered and resettled the Muslim south, encouraged a concentration of the population into a smaller number of well-defended settlements, instead of spreading them out into networks of villages. Another big part of this story, Spain's massive exodus from rural areas to cities after World War II, largely housed in new modernist neighborhoods like this one near Barcelona. They were built densely to save space, be affordable, and let people live close to jobs. Spain had particularly low car ownership in the 50s and 60s, behind the rest of Europe, although it has caught up today. Like other countries, Spain's density and development are shaped by land use rules. That sharp drop-off in density near Valencia, that's at least two different things. The land on the right is classified as rustic or rural, in green, as opposed to urban, in red. It's kind of like agricultural zoning in other countries, and it blocks most development. This system exists across Spain to plan and control development. This particular area around Valencia has extra protection, dark green, as a huerta. It's an irrigated farming belt dating back about 1200 years. One of about 100 sites in the world classified by the UN as globally important agricultural heritage systems. Parts of it are prone to flooding, although I think more in the south of the city than this example here in the north. Spain has limits on height and density too, although as you can tell from the abundant mid-rises, they're not as restrictive by default as North American-style zoning, although it can be more of a binding constraint near city centers. So Spain's dense cities and sparse rural areas come from its geography, climate, history, the rural exodus after the war, and its land use rules. And then there's culture. I've found it interesting reading locals and newcomers to Spain talk about how Spanish people are accustomed to density, proximity, and apartment living. Is this some deep-seated cultural essence? Probably not, but it is a self-reinforcing cycle. People grew up with this kind of housing, so they're comfortable with it. They expect it when they get their own place. Builders know how to build it. Planners and politicians are used to approving it. Same thing with standalone homes in Anglo-North America. I think we underrate just how much of housing and urbanism is momentum. Cultural change is slow, unless there's a big disruptive event. Is it good to be the densest country in Europe? Is more density always better? Well, that's not really the point of the video. Nor was it the point when I analyzed Hong Kong density back in an older video. This video is more about different ways of measuring and understanding density. Specifically, how population-weighted density tells us something different from traditional density measures, and how Spain ended up with the densest towns and cities in Europe on average. Personally, I love the density of Spanish cities, but people have different preferences. I don't really look at density and say that one level is inherently right or wrong. I think cities should ideally be dense enough to support walking, cycling, and transit, which does set a floor, but it's a pretty wide range that can work. And then I think about it mainly in terms of how density can be used to meet housing demand. In the case of Spain, the country definitely has a housing crisis. I'm basing this on a 2024 report from the Bank of Spain. Prices and rents have been surging since 2014, mainly because the supply of housing has not been keeping up with demand. Home ownership is high, but the number of renters who are rent-burdened is high by European standards. And young people are living with their parents for longer and longer, and probably not because they prefer it. Spain used to build much more in the past. There was that post-war boom that I mentioned, and another building boom in the early 2000s. What stops builders from building? Financing, labor shortages, and planning constraints on building. So it's not totally a YIMBY story, but it is partially. The way you build new housing is to build up in existing areas, or to build out with new neighborhoods. But the report focuses on the lack of new land. Getting land reclassified from protected rural to urban and buildable can be difficult and time-consuming. The best approach to build new housing for historic, already pretty dense cities is a really interesting topic, but outside of the scope of this already long video. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Here's a comparison of how European countries rank on traditional population density on the left and population-weighted density on the right. Red lines mean that the density ranking falls when you switch over to population-weighted density. Green lines mean that the density ranking increases. The Netherlands and Belgium are the densest countries in Europe based on traditional measures, but they're middle of the pack for population-weighted density. Spain and Greece are the opposite. Middle of the pack on traditional density, very high on population-weighted density. Denmark and Sweden have very different traditional densities, but on population-weighted density, they're quite similar. I don't want to tell you that traditional population density is wrong. It's a very real fact about Sweden or Canada or Australia, that cities are far apart and we have a lot of rural and remote land. But that is mostly what you're measuring. when you take the traditional population density of a country. If you want to know how people actually live in their towns, cities, suburbs, and rural areas, proportional to how many people live in each one, you want population weighted density. Here's a tool I often use. Click on Interactive Stats here. Hover over a country. This is the population weighted density of that country. Zoom in a bit and you can see the population distribution in that country. Hover over cities to get their population weighted density. This similarly gives the density experienced by the average person in that city, including most of the connected suburbs, but not necessarily all of the outlying ones. It's based on an algorithm that tries to give cities comparable boundaries, instead of looking at arbitrary city limits, or better but still not perfect metro areas. Thanks for watching through to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and a special thanks to our supporters on Patreon.